In the previous video, we have seen how we can use the h tag and how we can add the comments in a HTML file. So in this video, we will take a look at how we can add a paragraph in our HTML code. So for adding a paragraph, what we need to do is we just need to add a tag as p. So by adding a tag as p, it will add a paragraph in our HTML code. So if I add something like this is a paragraph, and after adding this, what we can do is we can just save this, and you can see over here, this is now a paragraph that we have added in our code. So what I will do is I will just try to comment out this part from our code, and now you can see we have added this particular paragraph in our code. So if I try to save this and open our web browser, and if we refresh the page, here you can see now we have added this particular paragraph in our HTML code. So here similarly we can create multiple paragraphs by just copy pasting it over here. So if I add it in the new line, and if I do, this is another paragraph, and if we try to save this, go back to our web browser, if we refresh this, now you can see we have two different paragraphs that we have added in our code. So similarly, we can use a paragraph with new lines as well. So there's another paragraph, and over here what I can do is I can add a comma, and if I add it to new line, so we can add more text over here. So if I do, this is a paragraph, we are learning about HTML. This is our first web page. So after adding this, if I just try to save the code, and if we go back to our web browser and try to refresh the page, now you can see this has been added into a paragraph, where we can see that this is another paragraph. We have added a comma, and we have added this particular thing over here. So let's say we want to add a break line over here after this paragraph. So we want this, we are learning about HTML. This is our first web page into a new line. In that case, what we can do is we can use a tag which is known as BR for breaking the line. So we can use the BR tag, and we don't need to close this tag. So in other tags, you can see that we can open a P tag, and after that we need to close it at the end of the paragraph. But the BR tag, we can use it directly, and we can use it to break a line and create a new line. So over here you can see in the preview window that this is another paragraph, and we have added a break line over here. And if I do something similar over here, I add a break line over here, now you can see. So it is breaking this particular paragraph in different lines by adding the BR tag over there. So after using this, what we can do is we can also use a tag that is known as HR. If I use that over here, if we just try to save it, and if we go back to our browser window, so you can see, if we refresh the page, you can see it has added a horizontal line in between our different paragraphs that we have added over here. So if we see over here as well, you can see that it has added a line in between our paragraphs. So if I do similar thing over here, if I add an HR, so it will add a horizontal line in between all this data that we have written. So if we do the same over here, so you can see all the lines are being divided, and they are being structured in this particular format. So if you want to add a horizontal line in between your paragraphs or any of your web page, in that case you can use the HR tag for adding a horizontal line. So with the help of the BR tag, we can add a new line or break the line. So with the help of the HR tag, we can add an horizontal rule with the help of adding the HR tag. So if I just remove the HR tag from here, and if we just keep this thing for now, and if I save the code, so if we go back into our web browser, if we refresh the page, now you can see we are getting the previous output that we have written. So after adding this paragraph, let's say we want to add a poem inside a paragraph. So let me just try to add a poem that I have copied. So over here, what I will do is I will add another paragraph, and we will close this tag and add the poem in here. And you can see this is the poem that I want to display on the page that we have created. So we want to display it on our web page that we have created, and you can see the poem is being shown in two different lines, and we want it to be displayed in this particular format by adding a break line in between. So for displaying a poem, what we can do is there is a tag for it. So we can use that particular tag and we can display a poem over there. So for displaying a poem, in that case, what we can do is we can just change the tag name to pre, pre, and similarly, we just need to close that tag. And after that, we will just close this pre tag that we have added. So if you just go over here and add pre, so now it will be closed. So in your English class, you might have seen that the poem are written in this particular format. So you can see there are 4 lines, and after that there is a break of a line, and after that there is 4 lines of poem. So you can see moon, oh moon, glowing bright, and this is the entire poem that I have copied. So if we just try to save it, now if we just go back into our web browser and try to refresh this page, so in the output you can see that it is now in the proper format of a poem. So you can see that it is not putting this moon inside the pre tag. So if we go back and add a space in here, so if I add it in between this particular tags, and if I close the tag after that, so it should now fix the problem for us. If we go back and try to refresh the page now, so it will add it in a proper format of a poem. So now you can see it is now able to display the poem in a proper format for us. So this is how we can add a poem in a paragraph by writing a pre tag. And we also need to close this pre tag after that. So if we just click on the preview window, you can see now over here also it is showing the poem in a proper format that is used in English. So it is now added the poem in a proper format. So this is how we can use the paragraph tag to create different types of paragraphs, also add different poems to it. If you want to add a new line, in that case you can use the BR tag, and also you can use the HR tag for adding a horizontal rule to the web page. So this is how we can use all these tags. So I hope you are able to understand how we can use all these different tags to create a beautiful looking website and add different content to it using the HTML tags. So I think that was it for this particular video. So without further ado, let's move to the next video of our course.